for more on this story, we can go across to Dave Keating, standing by in Brussels. Good afternoon, Dave. What's in this proposal?
Well, this is a long-awaited proposal that was actually promised by this farm-to-fork strategy that the Commission had put forward a while ago. It would have the use of pesticides by 2030 and also require EU member states to redevelop, save 20% of damaged ecosystems also by that year. But it could face a rough ride. This is just a proposal and it needs to be approved by the EU's legislature, the European Parliament, and the European Council of the 27 national governments. And in particular in the Council, it's going to be tough to pass this right now, given the situation in Ukraine, the disruption to food supply, to seeds, to all kinds of agrarian resources. This issue of pesticides is particularly sensitive for farmers who say, particularly industrial scale farming, really couldn't survive without the use of pesticides that they have right now. There's lots of science to say that all the pesticides that are used aren't needed. However, the disruption is something that really spooks agricultural interests. And the attitude toward pesticides varies incredibly within Europe. This is a very salient issue in France about decreasing the use of pesticides, but in other countries like Spain, for instance, it really isn't a very salient issue, and Spain is pretty enthusiastic about the use of pesticides. So within the Council, with all those different ministers casting their vote, it's hard to see how this is going to go, but it has some time before it would actually become law.
And Dave, there's an important vote which is taking place on climate protection later on today. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, this is a big day for EU environmental law. The European Parliament will, in about an hour, take a second try in voting on climate legislation that's quite important. It was defeated a couple weeks ago by the left and the Greens, who were angry about amendments that were added to it by the center-right. They said that it was diluting the effectiveness. This is a complicated bill, but the most important part of it is this carbon border tax that would be applied to all imports of goods from non-EU countries that have less stringent climate legislation than the EU and therefore have a higher carbon footprint. This is a way to protect European industry from global competitors who are not subject to the same type of climate restrictions that they are. The issue is that those companies in Europe are already benefiting from free allowances in the EU's emissions trading scheme, the cap and trade scheme, where they can trade permits to pollute. They get free allowances in order to protect them from that international dirty competition. And what the center-right wants is to continue those free allowances for a long time while they overlap with this carbon border tax, which is also designed to protect industry. The left says that was too much protection. They've reached a compromise by which that protection will come down earlier.
Dave, thank you very much for that update. Dave Keating reporting there for us from Brussels.